On January 27th, 1984, Michael Jackson's hair caught fire during a Pepsi commercial. 6 seconds of flames, second and third degree burns to his scalp. He kept dancing, completely unaware he was burning. 25 years later, he'd be dead, and doctors would trace it all back to this moment. The accident didn't just burn his hair. It started a painkiller addiction that would consume him. It led to surgeries that never healed. It created chronic pain that lasted until his final breath. 6 seconds that destroyed the king of pop. By January of 1984, Michael Jackson was the biggest star on earth. Thriller had sold over 30 million copies. He just won 8 Grammy Awards in one night. And he'd signed a $5 million endorsement deal with Pepsi, the largest celebrity endorsement in history at that time. The commercial was shot at the Shrine Auditorium. 3,000 fans filled the seats. Pyrotechnics were set up on either side of a staircase where Michael would descend while performing. 2 feet from his head, that violated safety regulations. But nobody questioned it because this was Michael Jackson. They did 5 takes, everything went perfectly. Then they went for take 6. The pyrotechnics went off too early. Michael was too close. The sparks hit his hair, which was coated in pomade, and his head exploded in flames. Dancer Daryl Mays was on stage with Michael. He didn't know that his hair was on fire, Mays told Good Morning America. But I looked back and I saw it, and that's why I ran back to go to him. Miko Brando, Marlon Brando's son, was the first person to reach him. He tackled Michael to the ground and beat out the flames with his hands. The fire burned for 6 full seconds before anyone could extinguish it. Michael described the moment in his autobiography. I was dancing down this ramp and turning around, spinning, not knowing I was on fire. Suddenly, I felt my hands reflexively going to my head in an attempt to smother the flames. Jermaine Jackson thought Michael had been shot. The crowd was screaming. The Pepsi executives huddled in a corner, terrified. Michael was put on a stretcher. Despite the terrible pain, despite being in shock, he was enjoying the ambulance ride because he'd always wanted to ride in an ambulance with sirens wailing. When they arrived at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, news crews were already outside. Michael asked for his glove. There's a famous shot of him on the stretcher, waving to cameras with his sequin glove on, his head bandaged. Michael was transferred to Brotman Memorial Hospital Burn Center. Dr. Stephen Hofflin diagnosed him with second-degree burns, but the truth was worse. According to Michael, he had third-degree burns on the back of his head that had gone almost to his skull. One of the firemen told him he was lucky to be alive. In most cases, your clothes catch fire and your whole face gets disfigured or you die. But only Michael's hair had burned. Pepsi settled with Michael out of court. They paid him $1.5 million. Michael donated every penny to Brotman Medical Center, which renamed its burn unit the Michael Jackson Burn Center. The accident made headlines worldwide. But what nobody knew in January of 1984 was that the accident was just the beginning. Dr. Hofflin performed surgery on Michael's scalp in April of 1984. He told reporters Michael's scalp should be completely healed in several months. He said there should be no scars. He was wrong. Michael's hair never grew back properly. The palm-sized burn on the back of his head left a bald spot that no amount of treatment could fix. Over the next several years, doctors inserted balloon implants to stretch the affected area and tried cutting out the scars to restore his hair. Nothing worked. Michael started wearing wigs. He'd wear them for the rest of his life, and according to people close to him, he became obsessed with cosmetic surgery. The accident had damaged his scalp. The surgeries to fix it damaged it further, and the pain never stopped. In 1993, nearly a decade after the accident, Michael underwent another reconstructive surgery on his scalp. The surgery was supposed to help. Instead, it made things worse. He was prescribed painkillers for the recovery. And according to Michael himself, that's when the addiction started. On November 13, 1993, Michael Jackson released a statement. He was canceling the rest of his Dangerous World Tour. He was entering rehab for dependency on painkillers. I have been undergoing treatment for dependency on pain, medication, Michael said. This medication was initially prescribed to soothe the excruciating pain that I was suffering after recent reconstructive surgery on my scalp. 9 years after his hair caught fire, Michael Jackson was still dealing with the consequences. His lawyer, Bertram Fields, elaborated. Michael had received heavy-duty painkillers after the July surgery. Then in August, the first allegations of child molestation were made public. Michael had to keep performing on the dangerous tour, night after night, while dealing with the pain in his body and the humiliation of the allegations. He had to perform every other night, get up on that stage as if the rage he felt, the humiliation, the embarrassment was not there, Fields said. Gradually, he began to take more and more of them, to kill not only the pain in his body, but the pain in his heart and mind. Michael entered a rehabilitation facility. He took over the entire 4th floor at $50,000 a week. But rehab didn't work. Michael's celebrity status prevented him from participating in group therapy. He was afraid someone would sell his story to the tabloids. So, he received private therapy sessions instead. And according to biographer Randy Taraborelli, Michael was unwilling to listen to the center's authorities because nobody ever told him what to do in his private world. He completed the program and came back in December of 1993. But the addiction never really stopped. In 2009, during the wrongful death lawsuit filed by Michael's family against AEG Live, addiction expert Dr. Petros Lavounis testified that Michael had suffered a quite extensive drug addiction. Medical records showed no evidence Michael used illegal drugs like cocaine, meth, or heroin. There was no evidence he abused drugs to get high or produce euphoria. But there was evidence of something else: dependence. An inability to function without medication, years of reconstructive surgeries on his scalp, years of chronic pain, years of doctors prescribing whatever he asked for. Michael's longtime dermatologist later testified that the doctors who prescribed these drugs were criminals. They enabled his addiction instead of treating it. And it all traced back to January 27, 1984. 6 seconds of fire, a palm-sized burn on the back of his head, pain that never went away. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died at age 50. The cause of death was acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, had been giving him propofol, a powerful surgical anesthetic, to help him sleep. The autopsy revealed something else. Michael had a portion of his scalp tattooed black to hide the bald spot from the Pepsi accident. 25 years later, he was still trying to cover up the damage. Dr. Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 4 years in prison. He served 2 years. But here's what nobody wants to say out loud. Michael Jackson didn't die from propofol. He died from 25 years of chronic pain management that started with a Pepsi commercial gone wrong. The accident in 1984 led to surgeries. The surgeries led to more pain. The pain led to prescriptions. The prescriptions led to dependency. The dependency led to doctors who would give him anything he asked for. And those doctors led to propofol at 2 a.m. on June 25th, 2009. Here's the timeline. Nobody connects. January 27th, 1984. Hair catches fire. 3rd-degree burns to scalp, April 1984. First reconstructive surgery. Pain medication prescribed. 1985 through 1992. Multiple additional scalp surgeries, each one requiring more pain medication. July 1993. Another reconstructive surgery on his scalp. Heavy-duty painkillers prescribed. November 1993. Enters rehab for painkiller dependency. First public admission of addiction. 1994 through 2008. Ongoing pain management. Multiple doctors prescribing medications. June 25, 2009. Dead at 50 from propofol overdose administered by Dr. Conrad Murray. 25 years. From fire to fatal injection. Miko Brando, the man who put out the flames that day, later said he wasn't convinced the Pepsi accident caused Michael's lifelong addiction. It's hard to say. Yes, it was an accident. Yes, he took medicine. Yes, the doctors gave him medicine. But Michael himself said it. In 1993, he told the world the painkiller started after reconstructive surgery on his scalp. The scalp that burned in 1984. The scalp that never healed properly. The scalp he had tattooed black to hide the damage. The Pepsi accident didn't just burn Michael Jackson's hair. It started a chain of events that would lead to his death 25 years later. 6 seconds of fire. 25 years of pain. One tragic ending. If you want to hear more untold stories about the legends who changed music history, subscribe to King of Pop and hit that like button. Stay tuned for more content.